Good morning and welcome to Wednesday. I pray that it will be a blessed day for you. I think the devotion this morning might actually go a long way in helping it truly be a blessed day to you. And I'd like to start off by reading you that quote that was at the beginning of the video. There are no ordinary people. You have never talked to a mere mortal. Next to the Blessed Sacrament itself, your neighbor is the holiest object presented to your senses. How's that to start your day? To think about every person that you interact with today, whether it's strangers or coworkers or people that you've known for a long time or are just barely beginning a relationship with. The holiest thing you'll ever encounter in this life, apart from Holy Communion itself, is your neighbor. Now I think about that in two ways, because on one way I see that as an opportunity, that if that is really true, that I have the chance to show worship and adoration to Christ exactly by the way I love my neighbor. I have a chance to show mercy and compassion, and grace and forgiveness, patience and tolerance, regardless of who they are, whether they're male or female, young or old, whether they're rich or poor, or highly educated, or simple, hardworking folks. Christ in my neighbor is holy, and I have a chance to express my worship through the way that I treat them. Now I say this because this is exactly what Jesus teaches, right? In Matthew chapter 25, Jesus says, "For I was hungry and you fed me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and in prison and you visited me." These are the ways that we show what true religion, what true worship really is by the way we treat our neighbors, our brothers and sisters that we live with and we encounter in our lives. But the second, and you might say that way of looking at it reflects my ideal, what I would like my life to look like. And I hope that reflects a prayer, or at least a desire in your heart, that your life grows to be more like that. That we would recognize when we greet each other that we are seeing Christ in each other, that we are having a sacred encounter as we encounter the holiness that lives in each of us who are created in the image of God. Here's the other way of looking at it. I see that passage as kind of a mirror for my own relationship, not only with my neighbor, but my relationship with my Lord as well. Because so often when I see my physical neighbor, and this can be anybody, it can be my wife, it can be my children, it can be people that I genuinely, dearly love, but on the wrong moment, or in the wrong moment, and at the wrong time or circumstances, they can be annoying. They can get in my way. And when you're talking about just the random encounters with strangers, when you go out in public places, there are times that I have to confess, I don't see my neighbor and see the people that, at the shopping centers or wherever I'm at about, the people that are waiting in line behind. I don't necessarily see them as, wow, I'm standing behind all these holy people. I see them as, doggone it, you are in my way and you are delaying me from getting where I want to go. And I hope that many of you have a purer and a better heart than I do, especially when it comes to the way you relate to your neighbor. But my confession this morning goes much deeper than that, because there's a reality that if that's the way I think about my neighbor, if that's the way I treat them in the attitude of my heart, thankfully I'm pretty good at hiding that attitude, but I know it's there. I'm aware of it when it crops its head. The reality is, it goes so much deeper than that. Because if that's my relationship to my neighbor that I can see, what does it tell about my relationship with my Lord who I can't see? And so often what I don't mean to do, but I end up doing, is I treat the Lord the same way. Lord, you're getting in my way. Lord, you're interfering with the things I want to do, with the plans that I have for myself, with the agendas that I have for my day. And yeah, Lord, it's nice to know that you're there and I can call on you and you can come and help me when I need you, but right now you're just in my way. It's amazing how the New Testament over and over again shows that correlation between the way we love those around us is a direct reflection of the true attitude in our heart toward God who gave us life and God who created all people in his own image. You know, it's funny in 1 John, the question's asked, if you who have material possessions sees your brother or your sister in need and does nothing to help them, how can the love of Christ be in you? Those words are so indicting to me as I think about my relationship with my neighbor, whoever that neighbor may be. Again, wife, children, friends, people that I work with, people in the family of God at our church. The reality is, if I don't have a right relationship with God, I'm not going to love them the way I'm supposed to. And that question is going to come as an indictment. How can the love of Christ be in you? And there are times when I catch myself that I have to stop and say, you know what? Right now, I don't think it is. Because all I see is somebody that's frustrating me, somebody that's making me angry, somebody that's getting in my way. And it's at times like that that we have a choice of how we respond. Do we just go with it and let it ride? Or do we stop in that moment and pray, whether it's out loud or whether it's in our heart, and say, Lord Jesus, fill me with your love. Open the eyes of my heart that I can see this person in my life through your eyes and that I can love them, because in loving them, I'm loving you, Lord. Help me. You know, it's a simple prayer and there's many ways to pray it, but when we ask, Jesus says, you know, he'll be faithful. He will grant us what we ask when we're asking to be able to do his will. And I tell you, there's not many prayers I pray in my life that God answers more quickly than when I pray, God, help me to see that person the way you do. It's so humbling because it's amazing how quickly my perception changes. And I begin to understand what C.S. Lewis was saying when he says, there are no ordinary people. You've never talked to a mere mortal. Next to the blessed sacrament itself, your neighbor is the holiest object presented to your senses. So if you're watching this video at the beginning of a day or at the end of the day, the next time you step out of your house, the next time you encounter someone, let these words stay with you and be aware that you are in the presence of holiness. And it might just change your relationship with that person. It might just change your disposition for the whole day and for everyone that you encounter in that day. Thank you, and God bless you. Have a great day. Amen.